So Snow White slept and waited for her prince to come, but he never did.
No, prince or a different kind of prince?
CEO of IBM.
Excuse me, your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help from you? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
Rachel Ziegler thought she had weathered the worst of the storm. The memes, the late-night jokes, and the brutal South Park parody that turned her into a cultural punchline, it felt like a nightmare she couldn't escape. "I'm really sorry, I was just trying to be kind," she lamented. But the response was harsh. If you want to be kind, disappear and take the patriarchy with you.
A time-honored fairy tale beloved by millions, which spans generations, borders, and creeds. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turned out just about everything.
However, whispers in Hollywood suggest that the storm is far from over. Rumors indicate that South Park's writers are planning a new special that won't just target Rachel alone. Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, yet she acts like she's some sort of victim, insiders claim. This mentality, they argue, is poisoning public perception.
Who are you? Care for an apple? Okay, I'll take a green one.
No, take the red one.
This time, the show is allegedly setting its sights on both Rachel and Disney, dragging them into a full-blown, unfiltered roast. Sources close to the situation speculate that the next South Park event could take the takedown even further, using Rachel's Snow White fallout as a symbol of everything audiences are fed up with regarding Disney's modern remakes.
Maybe she's been placed under some kind of a curse.
And all that will wake her is the kiss of a handsome...
I'm awake already!
The alleged plan includes not just mocking Rachel's infamous interviews and empty theater premieres, but also roasting Disney's entire strategy of corporate virtue signaling, diversity checklists, and nostalgia exploitation. Audience surveys, typically strong predictors of box office turnout, painted a chilling picture. Low excitement and negative perceptions about changes to the story, particularly the removal of the dwarves.
Theaters are, of course, entirely empty.
The movie was absolutely terrible.
Destroyed her career and the careers of anybody who worked on the movie. Kind of tough if you are the biggest media company on earth to have that company turn against you. And Rachel Ziegler, to this very waking hour, seems totally blissful, completely ignorant, and has zero self-awareness of the destruction that she has wrought. Disney has canceled all of Rachel Ziegler's appearances on their media platforms.
Internally, Disney executives realized the film was in trouble, but believed their marketing machine could still drag it across the finish line. They were wrong. Opening weekend numbers were catastrophic. Instead of debuting to thunderous fanfare, Snow White crawled into theaters with embarrassingly low ticket sales. Videos of empty theater lobbies circulated online, with TikTokers filming themselves sitting alone in nearly abandoned auditoriums, joking that they had more dwarfs in their group chat than showed up for Rachel's big moment.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
One of the most unlikable humans
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
Critics savaged the film, calling it hollow, preachy, and joyless. The exact opposite of what Disney had promised. Then came the corporate silence. Disney, usually adept at spinning narratives and salvaging bad press, went strangely quiet. Insiders speculate that internal meetings grew heated as blame shifted from department to department. Some blamed Rachel's press tour for alienating traditional fans, while others pointed fingers at marketing for pushing modernization too hard.
Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age.
A few even whispered that the real culprit was Disney's entire live-action remake strategy, which had finally stretched nostalgia thin enough to snap. The first time South Park targeted Rachel Ziegler, it wasn't just a hit. It was an annihilation. The show's brutal parody centered around woke white didn't merely lampoon Rachel's interviews or Disney's botched marketing. It took aim at the very public persona that made Rachel such an easy target.
I'm really sorry. I was just trying to be kind.
Kind? If you want to be kind, disappear and take the patriarchy with you. Seriously, go away, stalker. You're weird. Weird.
The lecture-heavy sound bites, the disdain for true love stories, and the endless emphasis on empowerment over enchantment were all fair game. Audiences didn't just laugh, they latched on. Within hours, TikTok exploded with clips. Fans creating side-by-sides of animated Snow White ranting about patriarchy alongside real footage of Rachel describing the original prince as a stalker and proudly declaring that Snow White didn't dream about love anymore.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
To make matters worse, South Park didn't just roast Rachel's Snow White persona. It amplified every past controversy she had ever touched. Clips of her political statements resurfaced. Old tweets and red carpet sound bites were recontextualized. Suddenly, Rachel wasn't just the star of a flop. She was the face of Hollywood arrogance, corporate virtue signaling, and tone-deaf storytelling.
HDTV on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all
wrapped up in one viral cartoon-fueled package. According to multiple sources, the episode featured a not-so-subtle reboot called Snow Woke, featuring a preachy, hyper-woke princess who scolds her rescuers, lectures woodland creatures about privilege, and proudly declares she doesn't need any white savior complex knights coming to her rescue.
I don't need your business. Thanks.
It was a surgical strike, not just mocking the modernized Snow White script, but satirizing the entire corporate culture that allowed it to happen. Viewers immediately connected the dots, knowing exactly who the target was: Rachel Zegler, the Snow White remake, and the studio that greenlit it. The internet reaction was swift and savage, with TikTok exploding with new memes that spliced Rachel's real interviews with The Simpsons cartoon rants.
I'm the hottest person in the world.
Insufferable, whiny brat.
YouTube reactors filmed themselves in disbelief that Disney's own properties were now roasting the company's most expensive live-action remake disaster. Twitter threads filled with brutal one-liners like, "When even your own cartoons are roasting you, it's over." Insiders whispered that the mood inside Disney's Burbank offices turned icy. Some reportedly begged to pull the episode internally, while others argued it would only draw more attention if they tried.
Sound like I hear a couple of people, too.
In the end, the studio stayed silent, choosing once again to let the mockery happen, rather than risk igniting a bigger media firestorm. For Rachel, the damage was personal. Sources claimed she felt utterly betrayed, believing Disney should have intervened or at least publicly defended her after The Simpsons piled on. Instead, she watched from the sidelines as her public image took yet another savage beating, this time from a show technically owned by the same company that had once sold her as the face of Disney's future.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities.
Because you just can't close your mouth.
Insiders allegedly warned her that continuing to engage, even passively, was a mistake. They cautioned that every sad post and every liked insult towards South Park's fans only confirmed the worst fears audiences had about her. But Rachel, according to those close to her, couldn't resist. She reportedly felt that staying silent meant accepting the false narrative, and fighting back, even subtly, was a way of reclaiming her story.
It's no longer 1937.
Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men.
Unfortunately, the internet doesn't work that way. The more she posted, the more viral the backlash became. Even those within Disney began treating Rachel like a ghost. Marketing efforts shrank, scheduled interviews were quietly canceled, and appearances were rescheduled indefinitely. Internally, some executives reportedly argued it was better to let the controversy die quietly, hoping that audiences and future investors would eventually forget the whole debacle.
I'm a narcissist.
But Hollywood has a long memory for failure and an even longer memory for embarrassment, especially when that embarrassment becomes memified, broadcasted, and replayed in endless loops on South Park, The Simpsons, and potentially Family Guy. For Rachel Zegler, the doors aren't slammed shut, not yet, but insiders say they're closing fast.
It is a colossal disaster.
If the rumored next wave of satire hits the way insiders fear it might, reopening those doors could take years if it happens at all. While Rachel scrambled to salvage her public image, insiders claimed Disney was fighting an even bigger nightmare behind the scenes, a full-blown investor revolt. For Rachel, the road back would be steeper than most fallen stars have ever faced.
That she believes that she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences to everybody else.
She isn't just tied to a bad movie, she's become a cultural symbol. An example critics and commentators point to whenever they want to mock Hollywood arrogance or tone-deaf reboots. Her face isn't just attached to Snow White 2025. It's burned into the viral lexicon of woke white, of empty theaters, of angry investors, and discarded popcorn buckets.
This is really a bad movie, and I apologize to Walt Disney himself.
Every time a new meme drops, every time South Park or Family Guy rolls out a new gag, it gets harder for audiences to separate Rachel the actress from Rachel, the icon of what went wrong. Could she recover? Some insiders say it's theoretically possible. A humble, stripped-down indie film, a long break from the spotlight, a slow rebuild rooted in sincerity and genuine connection to audiences.
I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
A real team player.
But even then, the stain of being the punchline that everyone piled on, from TikTok to South Park to the very company that hired her, might never fully wash away. Especially if Family Guy joins the chorus and immortalizes her downfall for seasons to come. As for Disney, their problem might be even bigger. Snow White's collapse wasn't just about Rachel. It exposed deeper fractures inside the House of Mouse. A growing distrust from audiences who feel preached to rather than entertained. A sense that the magic that once defined Disney's brand is being replaced with boardroom checklists. Investors know it, executives know it, and even The Simpsons, Disney's own property, knows it and savagely said it out loud. If South Park's rumored next special drags Disney even deeper, insiders fear it could trigger a chain reaction of audience rejection that affects more than just Snow White. It could color the reception of every future remake, every modernized fairy tale, every earnest attempt to rebuild trust. Because once the illusion is shattered, once audiences feel like they're being sold a hollowed-out version of what they used to love, it's nearly impossible to win them back. So what do you think? Can Rachel Zegler pull off a true Hollywood redemption? Or has the internet already decided her fate? And after this public spectacle, will Disney finally listen to audiences or keep doubling down on a strategy that even their own cartoons are roasting? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you want to see more breakdowns like this, and don't forget to subscribe. Because when you're ready to hear what Hollywood really doesn't want you to know, the next video is already waiting for you.